Hey you guys, happy Friday. We hope that you have had an amazing week, and today we're going to make it even more amazing because we want you to pretend like it's payday, right? You just got paid, you got money in your wallet, and you're ready to spend it on photography gear. And today we're going to talk about getting the most bang for your buck.
So if we haven't met before, we're the Scobeys. I'm Graham.
I'm Ashley.
And we are professional photographers. We've been doing this since 2008, so 11 years. Am I doing my math right? That's a long time. Yes. And we've bought a lot of gear over the years. So yeah, like Ashley said, we're going to talk today about the mistakes that we've made in buying gear and some of the good decisions that we've made. So hopefully the next time you go to buy a new camera or a new lens, you're equipped with good advice for making a good decision on that gear. To give you a little bit of background on us, we, like I said before, we started a photography business in 2008. And we're super passionate about wedding photography. That's what we do full time, but we're also really passionate about documenting our family's life. And so if you are in either of those camps or another camp, if you just love photography and you love cameras, we have a YouTube channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, you can flip over to our YouTube channel and see all of the videos that we've produced, including our Friday Lives and some other a little bit more produced videos on subjects that go a little bit deeper. And you can find that at youtube.thescobeys.com.
Yeah. So give us a little like thumbs up or a high five or like a money emoji if you like saving money. Right? Because I do. I mean, I like spending money too, but I like spending money where I want to and then saving money where I want to. And so today we're going to talk about like what are you actually paying for when you buy camera gear, and what are the things that we feel like you should splurge on, and what are the things that we feel like you should really save on. So what do you pay for when you buy a camera? We say it all the time. Your camera, it doesn't matter what kind of camera it is, it only cares about two things: time and light. And all cameras fit into that category. It doesn't matter if you spend $700 on a camera or $7,000 on a camera. Your camera only cares about those two things. So what are you really paying for when you go into, go into Amazon?
Go into Wolf Camera that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, sad. Go into all those mom and pop stores that have been shut down. Okay, when you go into Best Buy or whatever and you're looking at cameras, what is it that you're paying for? You're paying for technology, right? You're paying for a lot of bells and a lot of whistles. So a lot of cameras now have like Wi-Fi capability, and that ups the price. They have DSLR screens, what do you call them? LCD screens. And sometimes those LCD screens can tilt. And sometimes those LCD screens can tilt and come out and come up. Like they do all sorts of things.
You can turn all the way around so you can take a selfie with your DSLR.
So yeah, so these are the things that you're paying for. And whether or not it's really affecting the quality of your photographs is kind of up for debate. And we would say it really doesn't make your photographs any better.
Yeah, so there are a few things that you want to look for with your DSLR, and they're rarely the things, or mirrorless camera for that matter, and they're rarely the things that the manufacturers print on the box, right? There are some really exciting new features, and that's kind of what a lot of times the manufacturers will put on the box, and they'll want you to get excited about, and they are exciting. Putting Wi-Fi on a camera is a pretty cool thing.
It is. It's really cool.
Some of these other bells and whistles, you see megapixels used a lot, right? That's probably the biggest, that takes up the most real estate on the box, is how many megapixels a camera is. And a lot of the things that they're spinning aren't very important when it comes to the quality of the images that you're capturing. There are very specific use cases. Maybe you are on a particular assignment where you need to get photos straight from your camera onto your phone within seconds. Then maybe Wi-Fi is an important feature for you. But for the vast majority of people, that's just a nice to have, right? It's just, oh, cool, this has Wi-Fi. Maybe I'll use that sometime. So let's talk through some of the things that that are good to look for in a camera when you're buying a camera. The first one is you want to know what size your sensor is. That's really important. There are different sizes of sensors. You'll see words like full frame or APS-C or micro four thirds. And all of those terms refer to how big the actual sensor is that's capturing the light that's falling on it. I would say in years past, maybe 5 years ago, that was really important. It's actually becoming less important now, but it's still good to know because it affects other decisions that you'll be making when you go to buy lenses or that sort of thing. So Ashley shoots Nikon DSLRs, and she shoots full frame.
Yeah.
That's what I used to shoot, and I switched to Fuji. I'm trying to remember actually the sensor size, but it is a crop frame sensor. It's a smaller sensor than the full frame sensor. So when I buy a lens, let's say I'm buying a 16 millimeter lens, and I put that on my camera, that functions and looks as if I'm looking through a 24 millimeter lens on a full frame camera. So these are things that you need to consider when you're buying a camera is what's the sensor size and what does that mean for the lenses that are available and the focal length that I can achieve with those lenses. Another kind of plus one for a bigger sensor is typically the image quality on a bigger sensor is better. That's becoming less true, but it is something to consider, especially if you are looking to get like a medium format sensor. That's when you really start to see a big difference in image quality because the pixels on those sensors are bigger. And so when you look at an image and you zoom way in, it's kind of a smoother look. You can also achieve a much higher, what's the word I'm looking for? Dynamic range. So your shadows don't go to black as quickly and your highlights don't blow out as quickly. And so those are all things to consider. Typically the bigger the sensor, or this has been true in the past, the bigger the sensor, the more expensive the camera. So when you're looking at entry-level DSLRs, they're typically a crop frame sensor. I know Canon's Rebel series is a crop frame. Nikon's entry-level DSLRs are crop frame. And then when you go up to, let's say like the D750 would be kind of the beginning of the full frame in Nikon. And I'm not as familiar with Canon. I don't know where they jump up to full frame. Yeah. But yeah, all things to consider, and you'll notice
maybe
that
the Mark series. Is that what that was?
Yeah, the 5D Mark whatever they're at now.
Yeah.
5D Mark 5, whatever it is.
5D Mark 32. Yes.
But yeah, so as you go up in sensor size, typically the price of that camera goes up significantly. So sensor size, that's one thing to look at. Mm-hmm. What else do you want to look at?
Well, I don't know. What else do you want to look at? We get asked a lot by people like, okay, I've got $1,500 or $2,000 and I really want to invest in my gear and I have a camera and I feel like I need a better camera. So what should I do to upgrade my camera? And what we tell them is like, you might not need to upgrade your camera. What you really may want to do with that money is invest in some quality lenses because in our experience, the lens makes the picture way more than a camera does. And really, in order to create images, all you really need is a camera and a lens, right?
Yeah.
And so that may be something to think about too, is how can I maybe take that money and instead of upgrading my camera, really invest in my kit and really find some lenses that are going to be, have, you know, a lower aperture or, you know, whatever it is that you need. If you're shooting birds on a tree, maybe you want to invest in a telephoto lens, but just a lens that's going to be more versatile than what comes with your camera so that you can expand the range of what you're able to do.
Yeah. I would say in over 10 years of doing this, the vast majority of our investment in camera equipment has been in lenses.
Yes.
And that is for a few different reasons. First of all, you can really change the look and feel of your photos by buying a new lens. Mm-hmm. You can't change the look and feel of your photos by buying a new camera. Sometimes we have people who have been taking photos on their iPhone, for years, and then they finally invest in a DSLR that comes with, kind of a crappy kit lens, and they take photos with that. And they're like, why do these look the same? But one part of that is, well, there are some features on your camera that you need to get to know. You need to learn how to shoot in manual and how to control all the variables, because then you can start to affect the look and feel of your photos. But also, you can invest in a lens. If you buy a 50 millimeter lens with a very wide aperture, then you're going to get that low depth of field that iPhones try and recreate now with portrait mode, but don't really totally nail. They're getting all right, but it's not a replacement for a shallow depth of field on a real wide aperture lens. So buying a lens can change the look and feel of your photos pretty drastically. The second reason that we invest a lot of money in lenses is because they last a long time.
A long time, yeah.
We're still shooting on lenses that we bought in 2008.
Yeah, and they're killing it.
Definitely not shooting on cameras that we bought in 2008.
No. No. I mean, we shoot more than the average human too, so we have a lot of mileage on those babies. Yeah.
Like probably millions of shutter actualizations between all of the cameras that we own.
Totally. Yeah, so place to splurge number 1 is on lenses, and place to save number 1 is on cameras. And one thing that we want to talk about is kind of the benefit of buying your camera used. Okay, so if you think about your camera as the car that you drive off the lot, it's very, very similar in that it's going to devalue really, really fast. It's going to depreciate really, really fast. And a used camera is going to get you from point A to point B just in the same way as a new camera is. And there are a few things that you really want to think about when buying a used camera. And the first thing is that you want to really go somewhere where you can either rent a camera or play with a camera to decide the type that you want, so that you can narrow down that search and be looking for a specific make and model of camera.
Yeah. Another thing that you want to look for is how many actuations are on that camera if you're buying it used.
Yeah, so that would be the equivalent of the mileage on your car, right? Is the number of camera actuations. So every camera has a certain number of actuations that it can achieve before it's considered dead on wheels or whatever, and it fluctuates, right, from camera to camera, but most models will say good up to this number.
Right. And shutter to shutter, we've had cameras that have lasted way longer than their, typical mileage.
Like a Honda Odyssey. Yeah. Those things run
forever.
Yes, totally. Yeah. And the other thing you want to think about when buying a used camera is where you're buying it. So this is something where in this same thing. I'm just going to really ride out this car metaphor here. Same way, if you just went into this really random used car dealership and the salesman was smoking a cigarette and just, playing poker with his buddies or whatever, you don't really know. You may get a lemon, and you want to do everything that you can to set yourself up to not get a lemon, because it's a really big investment. And so typically some good places to kind of start would be Amazon, right? Because they have trusted sellers, they have protections and warranties in place. That's another thing. When you buy a used camera, make sure that the warranty is still in place. Make sure that you're buying the warranty with the camera.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're buying from somebody directly, know how they handled their equipment. And that's a hard thing to do if you just get on Craigslist and meet some random person.
Yes.
So we are a part of a lot of photography groups on Facebook, and we know a lot of photographers. We have bought used gear from photographers that we know, because we have worked with them before and we've seen how they treat their gear. And then we've not bought gear from people that we know because for the same reason.
Yeah.
So knowing how that gear has been treated, and how many actuations are on the camera, that's one thing that is something that most people wouldn't think to look for. So if you can, when you're in negotiations with somebody or you're talking to somebody, or if you're buying online, they should list their actuations. I don't know why I can't say that word today.
You're good. Actuations.
Actuations.
Is it actuations?
Actuations. Actuate, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, this is so like if you're buying on eBay, they should list it. If they don't, ask the question because they may be not listing that for a reason.
Because they're shady.
Because they're shady. And it's something that they can very easily find out. That do a quick Google search on how to find out how many actuations this camera has, and you can very quickly figure that out. Yeah. So know how many actuations are, know how the gear has been treated when you're buying used. There are a few online retailers that sell used equipment, so they'll buy used equipment from people and sell them. And this is a really good way to know exactly what you're getting.
They'll refurbish it too, right? Like they'll clean it up.
They'll clean it. Yeah. If there's anything that needs to be repaired, they'll repair it. So knowing that a third party has looked at this, somebody that does this for a living, and gives it a grade, typically. The big retailers like B&H, and we'll get to some of these too. And Adorama, they on their used store they'll give it a grade A to F, and they'll say, okay, this is a B- in terms of condition, and we'll list why. They'll say cosmetic damage, no big deal. It's just got some nicks and scrapes on it, or they might say, LCD screen has a crack on it. So you know what you're getting, but they'll also list, here are the things that are good with it. Yeah. This many actuations, sensors clean and functional, all of the inner workings of the camera are good. So you know kind of exactly what you're getting. You usually pay a little bit more going through an Adorama or a B&H or some other used store.
In the same way that you'd pay more going through a certified used car dealership, right?
Yeah. So
this metaphor is really working for me.
So it's like the certified refurbished cars.
Yes.
A couple things. One thing, I mentioned B&H because they're a big company in this space. We don't buy from B&H because they've had some discriminatory lawsuits filed against them.
You're just putting it out there.
So if you want to learn more about that, just Google B&H lawsuits, and you can educate yourself. But they're a huge retailer. Their store is pretty cool. It's like the Disney World of photography. So we used to buy from them quite a bit. We switched over to Adorama recently.
Personal choice.
For that reason.
Yeah.
So full disclosure, that's that. But then Amazon is another place that you can go and find both used and new gear. We have never bought anything used off of Amazon because they work with third-party vendors and you don't really know who you're working with or what you're getting.
Yeah. And there are camera stores close to you, wherever you are, that you can actually go in and look and see and feel and, talk to the person. And I think whenever possible, buying local is a really good option for a number of reasons.
For sure.
Yeah. So you can spend a lot of money on gear. One of the places we'd love for you to consider saving is on your camera body. Splurge on those lenses because they're awesome and they really, really change the feel of your images and what you're able to capture. Other things you can easily spend a ton of money on are camera accessories, flashes, things like that. And those are some places that, well, maybe not flashes. You tell me what you think. I could be misspeaking. Accessories, I feel like, are a really easy place to save money, right? Like camera straps. You can spend $200 on the camera strap, or you can spend $20. Yeah. I say $20.
Yeah, and this is somewhere where how you work and what your personal workflow looks like and what you're shooting all come into play. So, if you're shooting weddings for, 10 hours every Saturday, having a strap that doesn't kill your back might be a priority for you. But if you're going out, every few days to take photos for an hour of, landscapes and your kids and that kind of thing, that strap that came in the box is probably sufficient.
And it's free $99.
It's free $99.
It wasn't free, but you paid for it, so you may as well use it. And also knowing what kind of accessories work for you, and then trying to find something in that space that's on the less expensive side. So I love crossbody straps because I can kind of put them down, pick them up. I feel like they're not as hard on my back, and you can, even within crossbody straps, I think mine was like $25, dollars, and I like it a lot better than straps that I've spent $100 on.
Yeah.
And that's just an easy way to save.
Yeah, with camera straps specifically and some other accessories, but with camera straps, a lot of what you're paying for is kind of the style. So it's like a fashion accessory.
Totally,
which,
yeah.
if you're into, then spend the money. If you're not, I'm not. So
Same with camera bags, right? We can just
Yes.
like lump those two things together, because if you're looking for like an all leather, gorgeous Ona bag, which they are beautiful, they're also $400.
Yeah,
so,
and no more functional than a bag you could get for $20, $30.
And they're made of leather, and Graham doesn't like that. Right? So you can like be nice to the cows, save some money, go on the fabric side, and not spend as much.
Yeah, a lot of times when if you're looking for a new camera, a lot of times you can find deals online or at your local camera shop where they'll just throw a bag in for free. And sometimes the bags that they throw in are not worth their weight. But actually the bag that I've been using for a year and a half now was a promotion. Yeah, it was a promotion. It's a Domke bag. They make really, really good bags. It's a vegan bag, which makes me happy. And it was free, and I've been using it for years now.
Totally.
So,
yeah. What about flashes? What's your feeling on used flashes? We've never bought a used flash, right?
I have, yeah, on eBay.
Okay.
I've had good experience with them.
Is it the same thing where like the wear and tear on a flash is like?
I don't know that they actually measure actuations on a flash. I would imagine at some point the bulb would wear out, but I've never had that on a flash.
Which means they last a long time, because we use our flashes a lot.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah, I would say used is probably a good way to go for flashes. Cool. And especially because the price falls off quite a bit from buying them new. You can, fancy tilt head flashes can be $500, somewhere between $500 and $1,000 if you're buying, your camera's brand and you're getting the top of the line model. And you could get that same flash for half the price or less, buying it a couple years used.
Yeah.
So.
And our kind of MO, as far as most camera accessories go, is buy the cheapest one that you can, because they do the same damn thing. So, and for
typically.
us. Yeah, typically. Yeah.
Unless there's a very specific reason you need, more flash output or more, this feature or whatever.
Totally. So things like diffusers or umbrellas or light stands. We buy the cheap ones because we leave them everywhere. And we lose them all the time. And they do the same thing.
Drunk wedding guests step on them and
knock them over. And then, exactly. So we've always saved our money on camera accessories, and we've never regretted that. We've never been like, oh, I wish we spent more on that. However, I think if we spent a ton of money on a light stand and then we left it at a venue because we're forgetful and we're tired, then we would be like, oh, we spent too much money on that. And they do the same thing.
Yep.
They hold a light up in the air, right?
Same for certain lighting accessories. You can buy there was this light that was really popular a while ago. It was like this big wand that a popular wedding photographer produced, and
I think you can probably say the name. It's not like a
Jerry.
Well, I'm saying you can say it's called an ice light, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Which name can I say?
All the names. Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it's called an ice light, and they were selling it for like $700.
It was very expensive. I wanted one so bad, and Graham was like, hell no.
And then, somebody figured out that it was just a bunch of LEDs and a wand, and there's videos on YouTube on how to make them for $10, or you can buy an off-brand one for like $70.
Yeah, which is way less than $700.
Yes.
It's a tenth of the price.
Yeah, so make sure to do your research and not get pulled into this is one thing that the photo industry does really well.
I think every industry does this really well, but
is the hype and the marketing really sucks you in and and makes you think this is the only way that I'm going to be able to achieve the look that I want is to buy this thing.
Yeah.
And it's not true. First of all, it's not true because there's so many different ways to achieve the look that you're going for. Oh.
Ink.
Oh, I just changed the printer ink. Second of all, if there is a product that costs a bunch of money and there's a lot of hype around it, somebody else has made it for cheaper.
Totally, which is awesome for us, right? Because if we are just willing to put in like a little bit of research and time and effort to find it, we can save ourselves a lot of money. So take that paycheck and really use it wisely, because it can go a long way if you're willing to really put some effort and thought into where you want to save and where you want to splurge.
Yeah, totally. Any other tips on buying gear?
I don't think so.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today and for learning about saving and splurging, because we like to do both. There's a time and place for saving and a time and place for splurging.
Totally.
Graham would not agree with that. He thinks there's only a time and place for saving. I think
and saving.
there's
just saving.
Just savings and savings.
No, I buy
you do.
more
You
gear
splurge.
than you.
You do. Yeah. On gear specifically. That is your area
On technology.
of genius. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have bought a camera recently, you have a new camera, you're thinking about buying a new camera, we want you to know how to use it. So we've put together a free resource for you over at manualbootcamp.com. It is a cheat sheet that will walk you through the 3 most important camera settings that you need to know in order to take control of your camera and not let your camera control you and the photos that you make.
Absolutely, because that's going to be the one thing that takes your pictures to the next level. More than any kind of accessory, any kind of flash, any kind of lens, any kind of body that you can buy. It is taking that camera and imposing your own creative vision on it and shooting in manual that is going to make your images beautiful. And that's what we want for you.
Totally. So go check out that free resource. Also check out our YouTube channel. Again, it is youtube.thescobeys.com. And you can see all the videos that we've done, all the free resources that we put out into the YouTuberverse.
Yeah, and you should totally subscribe.
Subscribe. If you subscribe, you will be automatically entered. We're doing a giveaway when we hit 1,000 subscribers. YouTube is our new little baby because we've been putting all of this content for years and years and years on Facebook, and then it gets buried and nobody can find it and it's not indexable and you can't search for it. So now we have a nice organized place where you can find all of our video content.
So good. So good.
So head over there, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell. It'll notify you every time we go live and every time we post a new video. And leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking about buying next. We want to know. And if you have questions about buying gear or about anything photography related, leave us a comment on YouTube and we will make a video specifically for you to answer your question.
Yep, totally. Thank you guys so much. Have an amazing weekend and we will see you next week. Same time, same place.
Same time, same place. We're off to a wedding. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.